Welcome residents to another edition of our Talk of the Town with the Supervisor, Dick Thurston. We are here today taping on St. Patty's Day, so happy St. Patrick's Day to all of our friends out there. And I think, again, we can reflect on what was just an amazing parade on 2 weekends ago. And I thank all the community for coming out, and particularly seeing so many children out there. It was a real pleasure to see the participation in that great community event. Just briefly, I want to remind you of dates of some important activities, and then I'll fairly quickly go over the results of the board meeting that was on last Monday night. But everyone, please remember that on the 29th of March, we'll be holding our first, what I hope will be annual memorial event for our Vietnam War veterans. I'll talk a little bit more about that shortly. On April the 9th, we'll be having our spring festival egg hunt out at Mart's Field. That's at 1 to 3, and the memorial event for the veterans is at 1 o'clock here in front of Town Hall. On the 16th of April, we'll be holding our annual 5K run walk. That's out at the rail trail entrance on Lake Walton Trailhead, and that registration's at 7 o'clock, and there is pre-registration as well. And then the runoff will start at 8 o'clock in the morning. And then our crafts fair, our spring crafts fair, will be held on the 30th of April here at Town Hall. I believe the start time is around 10 o'clock in the morning. So please mark those dates on the calendar: March 29th, April 9th, April 16th, and April 30th for a number of great activities for our community. On Monday night, this past Monday night, we held our the first of 2 board meetings for the month of March. We got a lot accomplished, and I will just give a recap for that. One item that's actually been in the I think planning stages for some time is extending the water district, United Wappinger Water District, to include the Cosm property. This, as you know, is on Wheeler Hill Road, and they're just finishing the build out of an amazing art gallery, which hopefully will be open sometime in the spring now that COVID rules and restrictions have been relaxed. That allows them to connect to water to the main pipeline that goes down Wheeler Hill, that will bring added fire protection to that area of the town. So that public hearing and final resolutions were passed without any issues being raised. We had Kevin Hawthorne, who runs the Veterans Advisory Group, give a presentation, and during which he outlined the plans for the Vietnam War Veterans Day, Memorial Day, activities that we'll have here in front of Town Hall where the flagpole is. This is one of the area that we're going to probably designate to have more Vietnam memorial services. Our Vietnam veterans are a large part of the veterans community, and I think that they are really deserving of a lot more attention and recognition for their plight. A lot of different illnesses came out of that war. PTSD, which is a very serious illness, is of course very extensive. But there are also a lot of chemical related, as the military experimented with different chemicals to defoliate jungles, to use the firebombing of enemy installations, etc. And so it was a very debilitating illnesses that we've seen. I was involved when I used to go to Vietnam on business, on helping to find pilots that were shot down, their remains, their dog tags. I started that with Ambassador Pete Peterson, who himself was a prisoner of war, for a period of time at the Hanoi, what they called the Hanoi Hilton, but also worked with a local Vietnamese gentleman to create a foundation because the Agent Orange chemicals did bring about deformities in children and future DNA changes, alterations. So really outreach, and to this day, many Americans contribute to those causes that are out there, and also help to support the location of ordnance that did not explode, that was usually found in farm fields or along the roadways. So we're going to start having some recognition. Kevin is really working hard on that. Our 5K run walk is certainly to help benefit our veterans in and around our community. So that was discussed at some length and got the strongest support of the board with respect to those two events. We also had our discussion on the proposed zoning changes, and we voted to schedule for, I believe it's in April, our public meeting. This will be for the zoning changes to be considered. That will be a hearing date. We've spent, I think, about 8 or 9 different board meetings fine-tuning these new zoning proposals, but some of them, I guess probably all of them, are as a result of a number of concerns and even complaints we've received from residents, whether or not it's trash receptacles that are left out in the roadways too long after the trash pickup, or lighting. Today, the LED lights are wonderful cost savings devices, but they can create a lot of glare, so we are dealing with that. And then some other requirements that we've seen necessary to update the code, which we have been doing gradually throughout my administration, and we'll be having some more, as was discussed during the board meeting, out into the future. We did have the also recognition of what I consider to be a very important event on Monday, the 14th, was actually the Math Recognition Day, or what people commonly refer to as Pi Day. That's because the 3, 1, and 4 are the various prime numbers, or some of the prime numbers that we have. We had a proclamation supporting, recognizing our young people, for the outstanding work that they're doing in our school district and elsewhere. But certainly in Wappinger Central School District, there are some really amazing young folks I met some students starting at the age of 4th grade that can do math that I didn't learn how to do until I was really in college. We had a very nice ceremony out at the Van Wyck Junior High over in East Fishkill, and this is a program that Dr. Erwin Miller started. Erwin Miller has done a tremendous job in making math easier to understand and exciting to understand by our young folks. Going forward, math, science, technology are extremely important, and I think one of my greatest regrets is that I did not get a BS in college. I double majored and got a BA, but dropped out of getting the science degree at kind of the last minute, and it has been a regret because it actually has prevented me from being qualified to be a patent lawyer in the legal community. We've had always a number of discussions with respect to the release of bonds. What happens, for our residents' knowledge, is that when a developer comes and gets approved by the planning board, they have to submit different monies to kind of back up their work. So, for example, one of the resolutions that we had was accepting money for one of the smaller developers in cutting down trees. What that means is that the planning board has given permission for the developer to cut down some trees, but if for some reason the development does not go through, then the bond monies that are received by the town will go toward replanting, trees to bring back, hopefully, to some degree, the wildlife, the flora and fauna, in that community if that was never to be developed further. So we had certainly a lot of discussion as we look at how we, continue to handle development, within the community as it relates to those particular topics. One of the most exciting, long overdue resolutions was where the board approved $150,000 to go toward Phase 1A of our Spook Hill Park redevelopment. We had Phase 1, which is nearing completion, and that's the building and parking area and some fencing. Unfortunately, that had been long delayed because of COVID requirements, and then more recently supply chain problems. In other words, we're unable to source materials, or we're also unable to get people to come in, contractors to work it. So we ended up basically using our own building and grounds department to handle that. But Phase 1A, we hope to get shovel and ground in April, and this will take the outward development of the park and focusing first on two core areas, including, and most especially, the one for exercise equipment for toddlers at Spook Hill. And in addition, we are talking about some memorial sites out there. You'll recall that we lost a very dear member of our community who was formerly a state trooper in James Sweeney, and his family lives nearby. They had really seen Spook Hill develop from its early outset when the 4 kids in the family used to play out there. So we're going to have a memorial site for James out there. I just talked again with his wife Noreen the other day, and they're all excited about it. And also extremely important to us as well is a memorial site for Ryan Weatherwax. You'll remember Ryan was cut out of life very prematurely in a motorcycle accident where somebody was ignoring the entrance to Hannaford Shopping Center, and poor Ryan was hit there. So we're working, with the family and friends to do something probably around the basketball court, fix that up, seating, put in some trees to really make a nice living and playing memorial, for Ryan out there. So stay tuned. We will be doing a lot more. We are also addressing residents' concerns with respect to parking, noise, lights, which will be important, as is that legislation will be passing. I hope will be passing, and also, concerns about general safety in the area, since activity will probably pick up. So those are all being worked on and will be addressed as we roll out the new stages, the phases of the park. We're also had approved our baseball, that's the Little League, and soccer contracts, and we're now talking about some enhancements. Did get the approval with respect to the renovation of some of the dugouts out at Robinson Field, and we are also looking at the repaving of the roadway that goes into the park area. So that was really some of the core areas that we focused on during our board meeting. We'll be holding our next board meeting at the end of March, and shortly after that, on April the 2nd, we'll be having a workshop, another board workshop starting at 10 a.m. here in Town Hall, where we'll be talking about some of the other projects that we have. Also, the board agreed that we would have as a top priority at that meeting to discuss our Community Affairs Advisory Committee. That's basically going to replace what is a defunct Recreation Committee, but also do a lot more, cover a lot more topics and events, activities. And please, if you have any interest at all, volunteer, to be a member, to be involved in this committee or many other activities that we will have for the town as we go forward throughout the year and the years ahead. And thank you very much for all of your support, your attention, and we look forward to seeing you soon. And until then, please stay safe and remain well.